Hero Ball is back. Without Jimmy Butler in the lineup, Miami was looking to avenge a loss to the Sacramento Kings from this weekend. Both teams attacking each other all night, 26 lead changes, and it all came down to one last shot from Tyler Herro to save the game for the Heat. We break down the big performances from Tyler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo and answer your questions on tonight's Locked On Heat recap.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. However, you might be tuning in on YouTube, Odyssey, or on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg here with David Ramil. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. A big win for the Heat, who trailed for most of the fourth quarter, but then got some huge moments from Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, who combined for 21 of Miami's final 33 points, including 10 straight in the middle of that fourth quarter to erase Sacramento's lead. Then, after Domantas Sabonis tied the game at 107 with free throws and no Jimmy Butler tonight, out with a sore left hip, you wondered who the Heat would give the ball to with just 12 and a half seconds to go. Well, the answer is Tyler Herro, who gets inbounded the ball from Kyle Lowry, has Davion Mitchell on him, who's a great perimeter defender, gets switched off of him, gets Terrence Davis on him. He crosses over to his left, crosses over to his right, gets Davis to bite on a pump fake, pulls it down, then launches a three-pointer for the win with 1.8 seconds to go. A thrilling win in Miami, a huge moment for Tyler Herro, who was indirectly called out, by the way, for trying to will a win on his own when these two same teams played each other last week in Sacramento. Well, he willed the Heat here. David, a huge moment for Herro. I think an important one when you consider Miami's need for a shot maker, the hierarchy of the team, and the trust that Spo has for him.
I don't think there was any doubt about who the shot was going to be taken by. Like it was pretty clear that Tyler was willing and able to take that shot. We had seen earlier stretches where Max Strus took a shot. He was missing. Gabe Vincent was off all night. Kyle Lowry, incredible performances, mostly in the first quarter. As good as he was, even late in the game too, just not as easy for him to get that shot off at this point in his career. And Tyler, just willing and able. And the shot, you didn't even quite do it justice. I mean, as difficult as it was with all the defensive switching and everything else like that, a twisted, winding shot where he was kind of up in the air, off balance completely. Like he lost his footing and just went up in the air, had to kind of reposition himself. The 15 pounds of muscle, baby. This is what we see all from the work during the offseason. He was able to just straighten himself and unleash the shot.
He kind of missed the first good opportunity to take the shot, right? I don't think that he thought Terrence Davis would take so long to switch onto him. Right. And so he was pretty open. It would have been a long three-pointer. It was probably from 30 feet, but it's not as if we haven't seen Tyler Herro take and make that shot before. And so I think it was John Crotty on the broadcast actually pointed it out. I thought it was a good point. Like he was in rhythm. You know, he kind of crosses over to his right, gets the switch. Gabe Vincent comes up, sets the screen, gets Terrence Davis switched on him. Davis is so long, he could have just launched it from right there, more than a rhythm. But to your point, kind of starts moving over to his left and then has to kind of finagle and kind of take this leaner, very reminiscent of the Tuesday night game winner by Jimmy Butler. Obviously not as close. Jimmy Butler was from mid-range, but had to kind of turn his body around Klay Thompson and kind of get his body around him to get that shot off. Tyler Herro the same way. Then after the game, talking with the broadcast afterwards, said, you know, Terrence Davis is a young guy. These young guys always bite on the pump fake, so I thought I would get him. And he got him. He got him. Mike Brown apparently calling for a travel on that shot. Did you think that there's anything to that?
I didn't see it. I mean, this is two nights in a row where there's some kind of a controversial call. A lot of Warriors fans upset about the block by Jimmy Butler and the foul that was overturned. You know, and I did not see a travel. I maybe I'd have to rewatch it a lot in order to see, but I think he moved his feet, just kind of positioning himself like his feet were down. He didn't lift them at any point. He just moved his upper body up, faked Davis into the air, and then was able to just get off the ground. And then he had to, again, Davis recovered to try to close out and put a hand in his face, and that's why he got the shot off the way he did. It
looked weird. It looked weird. Mike Brown, you could see where he's standing. He's behind the official. I understand if you're the opposing coach, it looks funny.
Yeah,
you're trying to call for a foul in that play, especially because the shot went in. So I don't blame Mike Brown for it, but I'm with you. I don't think it was a travel. Kings fans might, but whatever. They can listen to Matt George and Locked On Kings, and they can go complain about it. In terms of the hierarchy of the team, the trust, that's interesting that you said that. You didn't think that there was any doubt that it was going to go to Tyler Herro, because I know there was no Jimmy Butler, but you had Kyle Lowry, who had 26 points tonight. Bam Adebayo was feeling it. I thought they might try to get him something at the basket. I did think it was going to go to Tyler Herro, but I didn't think it was for sure going to Tyler Herro.
I mean, yeah, I think we've seen him in these moments before. Even before Kyle joined the team, like there's just been too many instances, even with Jimmy out on the floor, where Tyler has the range, is much more comfortable taking that shot. And I think Spo will point out, as he often does in press game pressers, that we have a lot of guys on this team that are willing to take that shot or step up in big moments. And he points to Jimmy, he points to Kyle, he points to many others. But as far as Tyler is concerned, offensively, I think he seems to be the most likely, the most willing to take that shot, the most capable. And look, this is a great bounce back from him, because even earlier in the fourth quarter, he was taking some bad shots that had me questioning why he was not flowing within the confines of the offense. Like he was just, he was trying to play too much hero ball. At a point when I think Miami was down 7, and he takes a really bad 3-point shot, rush in the 24-second clock.
It just,
a completely unnecessary shot for him when you're trying to inch your way back. He was going for the home run because, well, that's partly who Tyler is. And so, again, for him to be able to get that shot later on in the game, hit the big shot, and save Miami's night there, a huge moment for him. And I think
I'm glad you bring up that Tyler Herro, because him and Bam, like I said earlier, they combined with each other to score 10 straight points for Miami, turn what was a 6 or 7 point deficit into a tie game at that point and erase Sacramento's lead. And then you're sort of going back and forth there. Other than that 1-3, and I do wonder if Tyler Herro rushes that 3, it doesn't go in. Davion, who was it that scored on the other end? Was it Malik Monk, who kind of takes it and then scores at the end? And so you could argue maybe a 6-point swing there. I wonder if maybe, the devil and the angel on the two shoulders, maybe the angel is like, hey, man, maybe not next time. And then he sort of played in the offense. We have a question later about sort of like the percentage breakdown of hero ball versus team ball, which I think is a very interesting conversation to have. But we'll have that later. But in terms of the rest of this game, or you know what? If Jimmy Butler is in this game, that shot goes to Jimmy Butler, I think, right? I think if they were down 3 or needed a 3, they didn't need a 3 in that instance. They probably
game.
Tyler Herro. It was a tie game, yeah.
But if they you put it to Jimmy because Jimmy's much more able to get that mid-range shot off or draw a foul. Like he's going to get a point one way or the other. He's gonna get something out of that possession with the ball in his hands, because that's the strength of his game. He's going to take a fade away. He's going to spin around somebody the way he did against Golden State. He's going to get to the line. Something's going to happen. So I think, yes, you go to Jimmy, and not just because of the hierarchy, because of the social structure of the NBA locker room or anything like that, but just because that's much more likely to take that shot. He's just much more likely to get something out of it than Tyler.
The best option, but it's nice to have these two options, right? And I do. Like I said, if the Heat needed a 3, they're not going to Jimmy Butler. I don't think they're going to Max Strus or Duncan Robinson or Kyle Lowry. I think they're going
to the second or third option on that. Yeah, he's not. If you need a 3, it would be they would be like the third option. I think you probably
Strus
prefer
or Duncan kind of coming off of a screen on the weak side if they're over helping on Tyler or whomever is getting the ball inbounded to them. A couple other takeaways from this game: Kyle Lowry, super aggressive. 17 of his points were in the first half. Comes out right away. 5 shot attempts in the first quarter?
15 points in the first quarter. Amazing.
Unbelievable. I mean, look, I don't think we're going to see Kyle Lowry like that all the time. I think a big part of that was because Jimmy Butler was out, and Kyle Lowry has said a lot this season, hey, I'm giving the team what it needs. Most nights they don't need me to score. That's Jimmy, that's Tyler, that's Bam, that's Max, that's Duncan, all these other guys. But without Jimmy Butler in there tonight, he was the veteran, right? And I think he took it upon himself to go out and score and set the tone. From that standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, from a scoring mentality, and he did that, right? He was a big reason why Miami was even in this game in the first half. Another just takeaway from this, a big talking point after the Saturday loss against the Kings in Sacramento was hey, do you still want to switch everything all the time? Because Domantas Sabonis kept getting switched onto smaller guys, and he missed one shot the entire game and missed 0 shots every time he got switched onto a smaller guy, dominated. Sabonis was fine tonight. It didn't feel like he dominated in the way that he did in Sacramento, even though he had a nice stat line for them. But 22 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists for him. But still, didn't feel like he was dominating and just and kind of taking the morale away from the team the way that he was in Sacramento. And I think a big reason was that they adjusted their defense, and they weren't they were a little bit more reluctant to switch Bam or even Dwayne Dedmon off of Sabonis. And I like that coaching decision by Spo.
Yeah, it was a good call by you there. A lot less zone than what we saw against Golden State.
Yeah.
Even with Jimmy out of the lineup too. But they mixed it up. And even when they went to their man-to-man coverage, it was a little different than what we'd seen. Again, less switching there. And that was the right call. It absolutely was, because nobody on that roster was going to be able to body up. And look, we saw on different occasions where Tyler, Kyle, anybody was trying to pick up on Sabonis. And Sabonis, tall enough, physical enough. He's just a good point by the broadcast crew that he just creates a lot of contact. The way he holds the ball over his head like this, and then just spreads his arms across there. It's almost like he's going to throw an elbow at some point. So you just have to position yourself so that you're either going to catch it in the face, which Bam did on a number of occasions.
On the last shot, 1.2 seconds left, Sabonis tries to draw the foul to try to get to the line there. I don't know really why, but it just knocked him backwards with a draw elbow to the jaw.
Inadvertent elbow, yeah.
I think
I'm not calling him dirty.
I don't think he meant to hit him that hard. I think he did mean to draw contact. I don't know if there's really a meaningful difference between those two things. But we do have credit cookies next. I imagine a lot of them are going to Tyler Herro, but who else is getting cookies tonight? That's coming up. But first, David, tell listeners about BetOnline.
Oh, BetOnline, still your number one source for all your betting football needs. And the start, of course, of the basketball season. It's kind of still in its infancy, but plenty of opportunities for you to lay some good bets down. Of course, there's also the World Series and much, much more. You can find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Thank you for making Locked On Heat your first listen. For your next listen, check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. It's available in the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. It's a Heat win, which means we are getting in the kitchen and we are whipping up some credit cookies. David, I just want to let you know you're getting a lot of hate for your
the cookie naughty. The cookie naughty is out there. The Illuminati of cookiedom or whatever is out there, making sure that they protect the interests of cookie groups and cookie lobbyists everywhere, or like already outside of my.
Be more inclusive of cookies. You can't just with a broad swath just say all cookies are the same. I think you are rightfully taking heat for it. With that said, what kind of cookies do we have today?
Pepperidge Farm Chessman cookies in honor of the knocking off of the Sacramento Kings there. So I thought that was a little
what kind of cookies?
Chessman cookies. They're Pepperidge Farm. It's like a square butter cookie.
With the chocolate on it? Oh.
No. It's just a little sugar on top, and then it's just like a square cookie, and it has like symbols of different chess pieces. It's got a horse for the knight, of course. It's got a crown for the king. Yeah. So the Chessman cookies. Yeah.
Chessman cookies. All right. So we've got 10 of these Pepperidge Farm Chessman cookies. Shout out Pepperidge Farm. Doing good work. Pepperidge Farm since what? 1600s, it feels like they've been around. Tyler Herro, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry. Those are the three names that come to mind right away. Can we just do 3 each? No. Maybe one extra to another one. Is there more that we have to give out? And let's just start with Tyler. I feel like he needs 5 of these things.
I don't know. You're right. Yes and no, but I feel like, and I know again that we're going to address this later on, but I'm trying to be as balanced as possible when it comes to any player here. And I know that we were even criticized yesterday in saying that Jimmy Butler only got 1 credit cookie. Even
we ran out of cookies. We kept saying it. I'm sorry. It's like this is not exact
the
science.
Cookies. The cookies are more about the impact by a player within the context of the game. And while yes, Jimmy hit the game winner, Jimmy's kind of also expected to win.
Okay. You want to defend us? You can defend us. I actually do think we messed up. We should have given him more cookies.
Okay. Having said that, like Tyler played a fine game and then hits the big game winner, so that's an extra
Great
good game for him. I think he had his moments earlier on where he wasn't exactly playing within the confines and context of the offense, and that's problematic for me because it's something that we keep talking about where the offense didn't look necessarily as fluid because he's not taking the right shot or he's just forcing it a little bit, over dribbling on some occasions. We can give him 4. We'll give him 4. We'll give him 4 cookies. Yeah, I think he deserves it. The game winner is a good.
There's one left over at the bottom of the box when we're all done with this. To your point, Tyler Herro, we're going to talk about Bam Adebayo here. They were so it's a good point you bring up because they were so instrumental in that fourth quarter run that we just talked about. But the Heat only took 34 3-point attempts tonight. And I know that I come off as obsessed about the 3-point thing, but the Heat are obsessed about it too. And that's why I keep bringing it up. They did not get close to their goal of 43 pointers in a game. Right. And a big part of that was Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo. I would say the reason why they didn't get there was because of Tyler and Bam. So many of their shots were in that mid-range area. Bam Adebayo, instead of getting to the rim the way that he was against Golden State, settling back into that 5 to 7 foot push shot range thing, which worked tonight. 9 of 16 overall, 20 points for him. He was awesome. I'm not taking anything away from Bam. But to your point, there seems to be a rock and a hard place thing here where, maybe you need Tyler Herro to be at his best. Maybe this is his game. And for Bam, he likes that little push 5-foot floater thing. But it's really hard for the rest of the team to operate the way that it needs to operate when those two guys are sort of operating the way that they want to operate and might have to operate to be at their best right now, at least. And so it is sort of this weird thing. But at the end of the day, they needed Tyler scoring and they needed Bam scoring in that fourth quarter and they needed Tyler to hit that game winner. And so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they won the game Heat tonight. And even though, smaller picture, this game, they won the game for the Heat. Bigger picture, I do agree with you. They got to figure out that balance. And I think that's part of the process of the regular season. And that's what the regular season is for. Bam Adebayo, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. He was awesome. 6 assists for back-to-back games. Getting more involved as a playmaker. Previous to this Golden State Sacramento win, his season high was 5 assists this season. So you like to see him more involved in the offense. The dribble handoff thing is more of a thing. I would imagine that was probably a point of emphasis at the practice on Monday. Yeah. Bam Adebayo, 3 credit cookies?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Defensively, he picked it up. There were moments there earlier in the game where I told you that I thought he looked a little gassed. So much effort expended against the Golden State Warriors, and there's no questioning Bam's effort there. But then in the second half, like we saw him diving more towards the rim, just attacking defensively all over the place, doing what he does, and so he kind of had to pick his spots a little bit more in order to save something in the reserves. And he absolutely came through in the fourth quarter. Huge game from him. Just incredible play. It was so good. And just the fact that he made Sabonis look pretty pedestrian. I know some people criticize Sabonis and maybe he's not a typical all-star, or maybe he's not going to put up big gaudy numbers and things of that sort, but he's a solid enough player where he can definitely do damage. Yeah, he is. And he could have really absolutely beat up on a team like Miami that is so undersized, and thanks to Bam's athleticism, it changed a lot.
He did last week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Tonight. I'm with you. I think Bam's defense was awesome tonight. I have nothing to take.
No, Dwayne Dedmon too. Like he played a pretty solid game too.
Dwayne Dedmon, 10 points in 16 minutes, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, made 2 of 3 3-pointers. I think we got to throw him a cookie. I think he's deserved it. Give the old man a cookie. And then Kyle Lowry, what do we have left? 7, 8. We'll give him 2. We're kind of in the Jimmy Butler stage here where he probably deserves way more than 2, but because, I don't know, he was the last one we talked about, that's it. Kyle Lowry, 2 cookies. Yeah? The rest?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right. We got a couple of questions that we want to get to about exactly what we're talking about. Tyler Herro, bigger picture. Can Herro ball work? Does he need to make adjustments? Plus some thoughts on the rotation tonight, a couple of tweaks without Jimmy Butler. That's coming up next. But first, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do to play PrizePicks is pick 2 to 5 players, and if they're going to score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. And the best part, no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch. This includes the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, the WNBA, esports, and so much more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. And they offer safe and fast withdrawals. Everything they do is easy. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. What did we have for tonight? We had Tyler Herro, 21.5 points was his PrizePicks over under. As soon as Jimmy Butler was ruled out, which was basically just rest, is what I'm thinking at this point on the second night of back to back, I went immediately and checked Tyler Herro's PrizePicks point total. It was at 21.5, and I'm like, all right, slam the over on that. He was definitely going over. Ended up with 26 points, so that was an easy bet. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks is going to give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. Thank you again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day, wrapping up our recap of the Heat's big win over the Sacramento Kings, the first 2-game win streak of the season for the Miami Heat. Feels like they're finally starting to get things right here. We're going to go to this question from Umar, who writes in, now that's a good situation for Tyler. Again, he's got the talent. Just wish he picked the times that he goes hero mode. He literally can play within the offense. Then if the team needs a bucket like that, he could go to work. 70% team ball, 30% hero ball. What do you think about those splits, David?
I think that's fair. Like, it makes a lot of sense. 13 of his points coming in the fourth quarter when he was specifically being asked to, play hero ball. And it makes a lot of sense for him to be able to just pick and choose his spots when he has to dominate the offense. Earlier in the game, he needed to work more within the flow of it, not as quite as effective. And then the fourth quarter, he could always turn it up a little bit. What do you think?
No, I thought it was I think I pointed out this stat on another show. Maybe I tweeted it. 60% of Tyler's buckets this year are assisted or are unassisted. 30% of them are assisted. And I would actually just like to have that flipped. I think that he should be much more I think that he shouldn't be so demanding on the ball and that he should be moving a lot more off the ball, kind of being that Klay Thompson light that Zach Lowe sort of pointed out for them. And I do think that on a night like this, it was an example of what he could do, because a lot of that stuff in the fourth quarter, he was coming off of screens. There was one where he came around a pin down, curled towards the basket, got an easy layup, and he was getting helped to get those baskets because he's so quick and he's so dangerous off the catch that I think that could just put a lot more stress on a defense as opposed to him high pick and roll, Bam or Deadman in the middle of the floor, setting the screen, and him just sort of meandering his way into a mid-range jumper. I would just like to see him more off the ball. Again, in the fourth quarter, I thought they got him into those positions a little bit more. He had 0 assists tonight, which seems bad, but I think moreover is an indication that he wasn't in that playmaking job as much. And that was Kyle Lowry. And then we saw the kind of game that Kyle Lowry had. So I would like to see Kyle Lowry on the ball a little bit more, getting other guys involved, including Tyler Herro, making things easier for him off the ball. So yeah, I thought Tyler Herro, this is where we needed him. And then I agree with Umar. Those are kind of the splits. 60% assisted, 30% unassisted, a lot of that. And then let him go hero mode in the last, 5 minutes of the game in crunch time. I think that makes sense.
Were any of Bam's assists to Tyler?
I think he did have one of the cutting. I can check my notes here really quick. I think he had one of those cutting layups to Tyler. Oh no, that was to Gabe Vincent. I don't know. I'm sure they were. I mean, he had 6 assists. I just don't have them. I don't have any of them in my notes.
No, I know. I was just thinking off the top of my head. I feel like there's something missing there. Like, with the 3-point shooters like Max, Duncan, Gabe to some extent, even Kyle Lowry, like it's easy for them to play off of Bam. It's easier you can see that synergy there. You can see the dribble handoffs working much more effectively. With Tyler, it's all, the ball is in his hands. He goes to work, whether he puts the ball down, tries to get to that mid-range area there, or if he's going to create a shot from beyond the perimeter, it's still up to him. So I'd like to see him, work a little bit more comfortably with one of your lead playmakers in Bam and Adebayo.
I'm with you. I mean, he had a number of assists to Tyler Herro in the Golden State game. So that's there. There is a two-man game, but you're right. It's sort of limited to just sort of that traditional high pick and roll where Duncan and Max are sort of the guys just screaming off of the handoffs and getting into shots and rhythm like that. And I'm with you. I'd like to see Tyler in those sets a little bit more. Not Tanner writes in, thoughts on the 9-man rotation tonight, not having Jovic or Bones getting any minutes. You and I discussed the Bones thing before we started recording when we were looking over the questions. I don't know if we're just out on
you should know this. You should know this. We've talked to everybody in that locker room. I'm just not sure who Bones is. So I
think it's probably the guy that's not right now in that locker room, Jamal Cain. He's up in South Dakota somewhere playing G League ball. I think that's Bones. I would imagine that's Bones. Either way, whoever Bones is didn't get any minutes. And if it is Jamal Cain, the reason he didn't get any minutes was because he's not in the state.
He's very far away.
Yeah, it would have been hard for him to get there. Jovic, meanwhile, I was a little surprised that we didn't see him, but I think the reason was because Dwayne Dedmon was giving him such good minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about Sabonis's physicality. Probably not a good matchup for Jovic either. Then, so I mean, I think for Dedmon, the size, the experience, the ability to play off of him. I think that obviously, and the fact that he was able to hit his 3-point shots, I think that's why is getting those kind of significant minutes. I don't know. I'm not sure. We saw some positivity from Jovic when he did get some playing time last week. You thought maybe he was going to start to be more of a part of the rotation. I'm trying to think what the best opportunity for him coming up.
I didn't think this was not a good matchup for him. Like you said, Sabonis is in the middle there. Rashawn Holmes is one of the best backup centers, if not the best backup center in the league. Point. And Sacramento in general does draw a lot of fouls. And Jovic is really
I could see him playing against Indiana, though. I mean, with Miles Turner, who's more of a spacer, Goga Batadze, their backup there. I think he could probably hold his own there, even though Batadze is much bigger. But I think he could be a good matchup for him if he does get some playing time there. I was a little surprised that Dedmon, coming off as a couple of days of rest, was still in it for the second night of a back-to-back too. So I mean, you don't want to put additional wear and tear on his feet, and and the plantar fascia issue that he had. Maybe
if Omer Yurtseven is available, he doesn't. Right?
Good point. That's a good point.
No Victor Oladipo tonight.
I started getting to the point where I don't even consider Omer or Victor part of the team. Unfortunately, I just don't know when they'll be available. Yeah,
it's easy to forget about him. I don't blame you. That's another part of the 9-man rotation. It'll be interesting to see how things work when these guys get back. I imagine there was a plan through training camp in the preseason to get them involved. It'll be interesting to see if they go back to it. In terms of Jovic, I don't think it'll be matchup dependent on him at all. I just think it'll be a situation where, like it has been all season. Does Dwayne Dedmon just not have it tonight? Does he look every bit 36, 37, however old he is? And is Omer Yurtseven injured? Like if there are no other options, they could go with Jovic. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that he's 19 and he's a rookie, and rarely do rookies impact winning, and the Heat are trying to win games right now.
Before we wrap it up, I know we're trying to get out of here, but at the same time, we talked yesterday about Miami kind of finding their identity against Golden State and playing more to who they were. Tonight, we talked about it a little bit earlier, somewhat close to what we think their identity is, although there were some variations there because, of course, without Jimmy Butler, you have to play a little bit differently. But do you think this is a step in the right direction, building off of last night and then getting back-to-back wins against Golden State and Sacramento?
I think a win is always a step in the right direction. And if you can get a win on the second night of a back-to-back.
In terms of stylistic evolution, I think. I mean, a win's a win.
I'm with you. I think on the second night of back-to-backs, you just throw style out the window and you're just like, how do we just get this one out of the mud?
Yeah, it was an ugly game. Even though it was a positive win, nothing really pretty about it. Just two teams kind of punching each other in the face until one of them finally gave up.
They did a better job of limiting the transition points in the second half than they did in the first half. So that's a big part of sort of the formula that they're trying to hit. Not as much zone as we saw against Golden State, like you said earlier. I don't think zone is necessarily part of the identity. I just think it's multiple defenses that this team has, and they deploy whichever one is most appropriate depending on the matchup. But 34 threes, you got to get that up. You just have to. They did. They turned it up. 12 threes in the fourth quarter, by the way, in their best quarter of the game. That's a step in the right direction. You do 12 threes in the fourth quarter. Quick math. That's 48 threes in a game. That's pretty good. I think this is a step in the right direction. Thank you again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Remember to subscribe to new episodes of Locked On Heat on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Make sure to ring the bell to get notified as soon as new episodes go up. Thank you for making Locked On Heat your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for joining me, David.
You got it, Wes.